In this video, I'm going to give you a few tips that you can use to make use of these rotten tomatoes and not just toss them in the trash. Even though we try to process all the tomatoes that we can harvest, not all of them make the cut. Some of them may have some blight, some other disease, or they just might not be usable. And one of the things that can happen is that they get moldy. Ugh. So sometimes when I'm processing tomatoes, life gets in the way and I just don't find time to process them all before they start doing this. But what happens when you have rotten tomatoes? Do you just throw them away? In this video, I'm going to give you a few tips that you can use to make use of these rotten tomatoes and not just toss them in the trash. If you're lucky enough to have some mealworms or even some red wigglers, you can always throw them right into the bin. Just pop them open, throw them in, and they'll eat them right up. The one thing you want to make sure of though is there isn't mold already on the tomatoes. That can make them sick, and it's best to just avoid that. So if you have a moldy tomato, if you have a bunch of raised beds, one of the best things you can do with rotten tomatoes is to actually use them as compost in the raised bed. Over time, that tomato is going to turn into compost, and it's going to feed the plants that are ultimately going to be in this raised bed. Now, of course, you'll want to build up more than just a base layer of rotten tomatoes, but I've got the leaves, I've got some wood, I'm going to put some greens on here, so this would be a great addition to this bed. Another way you can use your rotting tomatoes is as an acidifier. Blueberries, for example, which this is a survivor. The deer tried to take it out, but it wouldn't go. Good job, blueberry. Blueberries love acidic soil, so you could always put a rotten tomato around the base of it, or break it up and put it all the way around, and that'll help the soil have a more acidic pH level, and the blueberry will thrive a little bit better.
Next time you have some rotten tomatoes and you think you can't do anything with them, you have some options. Happy gardening.